number of COVID-19 cases continues to rise globally and right here in Guyana. Therefore, we encourage everyone to practice social distancing, wear a mask if you have to leave your homes, and wash your hands thoroughly and frequently as we strive to stop the spread of the virus. Welcome to InfoHub for Thursday, May 14. Thanks for joining us. Deputy Chief Medical Officer Dr. Karen Gordon-Boyle says public compliance is crucial to the flattening of the coronavirus curve, as it has proven successful in other countries. More in this Delicia Haynes report.
The Deputy Chief Medical Officer on Wednesday said that Guyana with growing numbers can learn an integral lesson in terms of slowing down transmission and flattening the COVID-19 curve. She stressed the important role each citizen plays in the process, noting that following simple guidelines can be effective as witnessed in other countries.
Those citizens would have stayed at home when they were advised to, maintained the physical distancing in public spaces, washed their hands before eating, touching their face, and before engaging in activities with others, cleaned the surfaces in their homes and places of work as often as possible, reached out for medical attention when unwell or if they were knowingly in contact with a positive case.
Referencing neighboring Brazil and the fact that Guyana recorded a case in its town nearest to that country, Dr. Boyle said the risk of more possible cases is cause for concern. Within the last 24 hours, Brazil, a country with a population of 209 million persons, recorded more than 800 deaths. Given the fact that there are several unofficial crossings between Guyana and Brazil, Dr. Boyle pleaded with the residents, especially in communities nearest to the border, to be more vigilant. The local infection and death rates are already high at 11% and 8% respectively, with a steady recovery rate of 36%. Back in March, WHO noted that the global infection and death rate of the coronavirus was between 2 to 4% when calculated by infected population. For InfoHub, Delicia Haynes.
The coalition government has debunked a recent statement made by Bruce Golding, who led an Organization of American States Observer electoral mission to Guyana, as partisan, biased, and incredulous. Here's that story. CEO of the National COVID-19 Task Force and former Director General of the Ministry of the Presidency, Joseph Harmon, on Wednesday evening, stated that apart from it lacking credibility and leaning towards the opposition PPP, the government has noted the timing of the statement and its similarity in content and style to that of the leader of the opposition.
It would appear as if this was coordinated and pre-arranged to deliver statements which were strikingly similar in content and style.
Harmon noted that Golding's statement is not only exceptionally partisan, but it is grossly irresponsible and hostile to the nation and the people of Guyana. As a former head of state of a CARICOM nation, the government said the statement smacks of gross disrespect for a sovereign state and the ongoing process supported by CARICOM.
Golding's partisanship and unquestionable link to the People's Progressive Party compromises him, and no longer can he be considered an independent observer. He has clearly demonstrated a bias for his close associates and appeared to have now become an unabashed co-conspirator of the PPP as they seek to defy the will of the Guyanese people.
The government calls on Guyanese to disregard the distant voices and pay attention to the unfolding situation. In news from GCOM, Day 9 of the national recount of ballots got underway promptly at 8 hours. Today's dry and sunny weather was a welcomed change as the Guyana Elections Commission had several meetings scheduled for the day, as well as a visit by the National COVID-19 Task Force. Senior Communications Officer Felicia Valenzuela has that update.
As you rightly said, Anara, the weather today is much better, and those meetings with the GCOM got underway without a glitch. The National COVID-19 Task Force did in fact meet with the GCOM earlier today, as the Commission is planning to increase its workstations.
We did have our walkthrough with the COVID team this morning. And during the course of that walkthrough, we looked at 6 possible sites. 6 possible sites. COVID is now to return the report on the feasibility of those sites. When that report is returned, then take into consideration security advice and the availability of the relevant equipment, I think a decision will be made. So I don't see us being final on the matter before tomorrow.
In the meantime, Minister of Public Infrastructure David Patterson spoke with the media. In an invited comment, he spoke on the comments made by Mr. Bruce Golding, who led an observer mission from the Organization of American States for the March 2nd general and regional elections here in Guyana.
He is free to make those assertions, and I think he made those assertions as a private citizen. We will address specifically those actual numbers that he did raise. I think we will address it specifically. I saw them last night. I'll ensure that we address it specifically. But what Mr. Golden did not mention is the question in anomalies that have been unearthed, the question of the statistical anomalies, the questions that are in the observation report. And it's strange that Mr. Golden could right away jump to improving the integrity of Mr. Mingo and the entire GCOM staff without making even a fleeting reference to those particular issues. So yes, I do think we will address Mr. Golden's accusations more frontally right now, but I am concentrating on ensuring that the recount process goes smoothly.
Mr. Patterson said it's now for GCOM to decide what it will do with the 10 legal declarations it has in its possession.
As far as I'm aware, the GCOM has not disposed of the 10 declarations that they have in their possession. So, as I said to the young lady there, that what it is that GCOM will have them. We'll raise it with them frontally when we meet them. GCOM has to make a decision of, at the end of this process or at some point, what do they do with the 10 legal declarations that they have in their possession.
From the Artichown Conference Center with videographer Kareem Peters, Felicia Valenzuela, InfoHub.
More news after this short break.
This is Jamaica with a message from my people. We don't know when COVID-19 will go, so for now better stay at home. Oh, we don't know, so let we try and cope. Sanitizer, use a soap. Oh, I won't stop, and don't you stop. Responsibility is what you've got to self-preserve the health you've got. Good hygiene, we need to all adapt. I won't stop, don't you stop. Stay away from crowds cause it's way too packed. We all should stay 3 feet away, and in time we make this fire stop.
This is a message from Tamika Marshall and the Ministry of Public Health in collaboration with PAHO WHO.
Thanks for staying with us. Still on the national recount, a week into the national recount of the votes cast at the March 2 general and regional elections, the Guyana Elections Commission has been able to complete the recount of just over 400 ballot boxes. Analysts believe that the 25-day deadline for the recount may not be adequate for the recount of the 2,339 boxes. Alexis Rodney has the details.
With an average of 50 boxes per day, the 25-day completion of the national recount seems to be an arduous task for the Guyana Elections Commission. Understanding this, the Commission decided on Tuesday that in order for its goal to be accomplished, there must be additional workstations and an increase in the 11-hour schedule for the recount. The Commission is currently utilizing some 10 workstations for the process. During the course of the daily recount, 3.5 hours have also been set aside for the tabulation of the statements of recount. Given the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic and the enforced measures to curb its spread in Guyana, the Commission is guided by recommendations from the National COVID-19 Task Force. Members of the task force visited the Arthur Chung Conference Center on Thursday, where the recount is ongoing, to ascertain whether or not more stations could be established to accelerate the recount. It will also be decided if the daily recount period should be extended. The Commission on Thursday also completed the recount of the 99 ballot boxes of Region 1 and commenced the recount of some 158 boxes from Region 5. Still ongoing is the recount of 135 boxes from Region 2, 355 from Region 3, and a simultaneous recount of 879 ballot boxes from Region 4. Some analysts believe that with the amount of ballot boxes to be recounted, the 156 days recommendation by GCOM's Chief Elections Officer Keith Lowenfield may have been the right fit. Lowenfield had come under criticism from the political opposition for his recommendation, even though it was the opposition commissioners whose recommendations for the process had led to that timeline. Commissioner Vincent Alexander had said that the CEO did not pluck the 156 days recommendation out of thin air, as he understood the nature of the recount. This position stands true today as the current recount is undergoing a thorough audit. GCOM believes that in order for the march to polls to be deemed credible and transparent, there must be a thorough examination of all the ballots cast. So far, the recount has been unearthing major discrepancies, which the government believes can have an impact on the final results.
The World Health Organization is urging world leaders to enhance their novel coronavirus prevention and control measures to protect populations housed in places of detention. WHO's Director General underscored that overcrowding in prisons undermines hygiene, health, safety, and human dignity. A health response to COVID-19 in closed settings alone is insufficient. The Director General called on world leaders to ensure that COVID-19 preparedness and responses in closed settings are identified and implemented in line with fundamental human rights and are guided by WHO guidance and recommendations to protect human health. Additionally, it was announced that the organization has launched the WHO Academy app designed to support health workers and a WHO Info app to inform the general public during this pandemic. With these new mobile apps, the WHO is putting the power of learning and knowledge sharing directly into the hands of health workers and people everywhere. Let's tell you now that citizens will soon benefit from the Social Cohesion Renewal Arts Scheme proposal, which seeks to maintain national morale and heighten public spirits amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Minister of Social Cohesion, the Honorable Dr. George Norton, made this disclosure during a recent interview with InfoHub.
The proposals seek to comprehensively cater for cultural expressions in all forms of the arts, and we refer directly to the performing arts, dance, theater, music, literary arts, prose, poetry, culinary arts, whether it be baking, roasting, cooking, particularly our local dishes, visual arts, painting, sculpture, digital art, photography, and of course, craft. The scheme that we are proposing would have to take into consideration our ministerial plan, our national policies, as well as taking into consideration the necessary measures that were put in place by the task force.
Taking into consideration these objectives, Minister Norton said the department aims to host such activities virtually. This aim will utilize print, electronics, and social media. This is in keeping with the guidelines outlined by the National COVID-19 Task Force.
Additionally, the proposal will focus on Guyanese folklore, architecture, monuments, history, and religion. Of course, within all of that is our 54th Independence Anniversary celebration, but that would be dealt with, apart on the side. And we would also take into consideration other national days, national events.
Minister Norton said that though the coronavirus has caused many to reconstruct their lifestyles, it has provided the opportunity to showcase the talent of various professionals. It is the hope that persons are encouraged to participate in these various aspects once the department is able to release its schedule. Neola Damon, InfoHub.
Remember to do your part to ensure you do not put yourself at risk during this time. If you have a cough, fever, and difficulty breathing, seek medical care early, but call the hotline first. That's all for today. Connect with us on all our social media platforms, including WhatsApp, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, as we bring you the latest and important news related to COVID-19 and much more. Also, subscribe to our website, dpi.gov.gy. Your bird report is up next. Stay safe and goodbye for now.